Welcome, I'm Rogers Anderson, Williamson County's mayor, and today we have a wonderful treat in store to be able to talk to, I think so anyway, to talk to one of the finest ladies in Williamson County, and that is Miss Sadie Wade. And
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment.
Well, it's been a long time to get you here in this studio, and that's not your style. You're the person behind the scenes. You're the person that day in and day out for how many years?
44.
44 years you have been working for Williamson County government.
I have.
And she is your Register of Deeds and will continue to be your Register of Deeds until August 31st of 2018.
That's right.
Sadie has decided that she wants to go argue with her husband, Don.
Oh, me.
And enjoy life and spend time with in the community. And I want to say personally thank you for the many, many years that you have served marvelously in the capacity without audit write-ups, without just any front page bad news.
Well, we haven't had any audit write-ups.
That's right. No audit write-ups and all those. So let's talk a little bit about Sadie. I just found out before we clicked the TV screens on that you were actually born in Lexington, but I always thought you were around Parsons.
Well, we lived in Parsons, but that was the closest hospital when I was born.
Oh, excuse me.
You know, my mother, I guess, decided to go to the hospital. I think they usually had those babies at home back then, but she did go to a place called Conger's Clinic in Lexington, and I was born there, but I grew up in Parsons.
Brothers, sisters, and
I'm an only child. I must have been a demon.
Went to school there at high school.
Yep.
Moved
to Nashville.
Moved to Nashville. Somewhere along in there you met this rascal named Don.
Yeah. We got married in 1960, and we lived in Nashville for a while. Then we moved back to Parsons. But then his company wanted him back closer to Nashville, so we picked Franklin and moved next door to Preston Folks, of all people.
And people probably don't know who Preston Folks.
Preston Folks, and his brother came here from West Texas and brought a trainload of longhorn cattle with them, and they ran them down the middle of Main Street. And they started a rodeo here. But we lived next door, and that was an experience and a half. It really was an experience and a half. But we've lived here since 1963, I think, January of 63. And Don and I have two boys and one granddaughter, and we're still living here in Franklin and love it and wouldn't live anywhere else.
I know, I'll deviate a little bit here. I know the boys are important, but that granddaughter's kind of special to you.
Oh, yeah, she is the light of my life. I love her to death. Yeah, she's great.
Very attractive but energetic young lady.
Yes,
and,
she is.
She can, when she's around you, you light up like a Christmas tree.
I do. She's a joy.
In the early days with Don, y'all actually did some rodeoing.
Yeah, we rodeoed.
Not you.
Yeah, I was the driver. I was the driver and the babysitter. He did the rodeoing, but we did. We traveled all over the United States and had a great time. It was a great experience. Made friends that we will never forget and are still lifelong friends.
Fast forward a few years, what made Sadie decide to run for Register of Deeds at Williamson County?
Well, I worked for the predecessor, and then I moved to the trustee's office. She had a vacancy, and I was ready for a change, and I moved down there for 3 years. And when my predecessor, Mr. Bennett, decided to retire, my husband talked me into running. I thought I had lost my mind before it was over, but that was in 1986, and I haven't had any opposition since.
I always remember that day because that is the official date that I became baptized into Williamson County politics, myself as a county commissioner, and which was a lot less low-profile job, although county commissions are important. They're our legislative
That's
branch.
true.
But I remember you running and us working in different people's barns, putting signs together. That was before the days of ordering everything and it was pre-printed.
Yeah.
You glued them, you nailed
Yeah.
these things together, and there's a lot of people that were involved in those first.
But it was fun.
It was fun, and it is an experience that everyone should go through.
Now, did you work on the set? We ran out of glue.
Tell the story.
Do I need to mention names?
I don't know. That's
Well,
up to
anyway,
you.
we had a gentleman who was running for county commission also. No, maybe he was running for state representative.
He was running for state rep,
That's
I
right,
believe.
that's right. And we ran out of glue, so the guy who was managing his campaign went to town to get more glue. Well, he came back with the stuff. And we got about done, and we said, well, you really did a good job getting this glue so fast. Where did you get it? He said, well, I made some potato glue. And we had put all those signs up, and we made them, and we put them up, and the next morning it had rained, and they were all laying on the ground, and the boards were up there just empty because the potato glue didn't work. And that was a lot of hard work. Needless to say, we were a little mad at the campaign manager.
So, Sadie, I know every day you faithfully have come to work, and a lot of people probably do not realize what the Register of Deeds really, what that job entails, and it's behind the scenes, but it is so important.
It is.
And it's required by state law that we have a Register of
Right.
Deeds. So what is?
Constitutional
It's
office.
constitutional office. What are you ultimately responsible for?
I'm responsible for the real estate history in this county. I'm responsible for recording the deeds, the mortgages. The bank depends on us to keep accurate records so they can insure their titles when they have title policies. The bank depends on us to keep accurate records, and the owners depend on us. If I record your deed and I record you owning the wrong lot, then we have a problem. You have a problem. And people don't realize, but we record everything. In most states, we're called the county recorder.
Right.
Because we record everything that has to be recorded in the county. If you pass away and you want to record your will, you receive a certified copy from the courts, and then you record it at our office. And that keeps the chain of title going. And most people don't realize that we record discharges from the service. If you have your DD 214, you need to record it in our office. So if you lose it when you have to go to VA hospital or the doctor, and you need a copy of that, we can give that to you, and it's free.
So, when you think about all the people before you, but particularly no one served any longer than Sadie Wade. And those records are kept the old-fashioned way, have to by law, kept forever. And when we say forever, almost everything you record, we still have that.
We do. We do have it. It's digitized, and it's also the original copy. And when Williamson County became a county, we started recording, and we have documents from 1799 handwritten in our office. Now, we don't allow people to use them anymore. They're so fragile. But we do have it digitized so you can look at it on computer.
So, just as a sideline, and I may put you on the spot here, I'm sure that there are some things recorded that's almost humorous.
Oh, yeah. We have deeds where they swapped mules for land, and we have deeds where even slaves were swapped. But that was in this office. So it's very interesting, if you have time, to go back in those old books and just read. You will come out of there with a whole new picture of what our history is like.
So I know you're not a surveyor, but I would think that 100 or 200 years ago, this county was 1799, I think. I believe that's when. That's a little before my age and
Mine
yours.
too.
But I'm sure in those early days when we were recording things were probably referred to. You go to the big oak tree in the far end of the corner of the lot and turn left.
And the rock in the middle of the stream.
And the rock in the middle of the
That's
stream.
right.
And although that's antiquated in the way we do things today, that's how they
That's right.
surveyed
Yeah.
things.
They did.
Or that Harpeth River or that stream that over a period of 200 years has carved out. If a stream
Right.
is going to the left or the right and the water is carving out the banks, that bank is slowly moving
right.
inward.
That's right. So then you get to get a new survey, and you know, you have your present day surveyors come out and go with those calls, and they usually are pretty accurate.
No office, yours or mine, is ever successful without good people.
They're what makes it successful. You know as well as I do, you have to surround yourself with good people. You have to. That's the most important part.
And you've been very blessed over your many years.
I sure have. I have the best staff, in my opinion, in Williamson County or even the state. I have wonderful ladies working for me.
You've
Very
grown,
thankful.
You've grown in terms of parcels. We're not going to talk about how many. I can tell you that there's a bunch more today
Yes,
than
oh,
there
yeah.
were just 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because every single mortgage is recorded up in your office.
Every single mortgage, assignment, subdivision plat, lease, and like I said, people who served in the service, their DD 214s, and we have stuff that people don't even think about, leases, liens.
In terms of personnel, you've held your personnel costs down.
Yes. When I started in 1986, I had 9 employees, counting myself, and I now have 11.
Grown 2 people in a long time,
Yeah.
30 some odd years,
Yeah.
40 approaching.
But we try to stay up to date on technology and digitizing, and we couldn't do it manually like we used to do. We would have to have 30 or 40 people. We just couldn't do it, and there's not room to do it.
And so many of your records today, it is enjoyable to come and turn through some
It
of the
is.
books and
great.
try to read the way that people wrote
Right.
back then.
Right.
Of course, they'll be saying that about you and me. They'll say that handwriting is bad. But today, you can also go online and get most of that
Yes, you
information.
can.
You do not have to come in if you
No,
don't want to.
No. In this county, it is an account type way to get the technology in your office, and it just costs $50 a month. That's really cheap. You know, you just sit right there at your office, and you don't pay someone to come out here.
When you talk about the ladies up in your office and over the years, and you watch your staff just grow by 2 people since 1986, latter part of the 80s. You've been faithful in your work, and one thing that always sticks out to me whether I was in my prior life in the commercial side of working in insurance or today, is that when the state comptroller's office comes to town to do our audits, and they are going to do them, and they're
yeah.
required by law,
Yeah.
to let the people know, the taxpayers know, how is Sadie Wade doing? How is Rogers Anderson doing? Handling the money or the property. In
That's
your
right.
case, it's 99% property. Those things that you're charged with by Tennessee Code Annotated. I'm afraid to ask the question beyond 10 years, but in the last 10 years, has your office ever had a single write-up?
Not one.
An amazing.
Not one.
And when I think about that, all across the different men and women that serve in the capacity, even over on county, my side in the county general, the whole county for the last 2 years has not had one single department have a write-up. But you could have one person steal money, and that would take you out of a perfect audit.
Right.
Just that one incident.
Right.
Now, I don't mean to downplay that. That person's terminated.
Yeah.
And we file necessary paperwork to get that money back.
Yeah.
But that's not a clean audit. And to think that over the years, and particularly in the last several years, that you've never had a write-up, that's amazing.
That's right. I have a lady that is now my chief deputy. Am I allowed to say her name?
Sure you are.
And her
I'd give her a
name
pat on the back.
Well, her name is Sherry Anderson, and she's been my chief deputy for 10 years. And it's been 10 years since we've had an audit that has showed anything. Now, in addition to that, we also have to have a computer audit.
Yes.
And so I have to give my other ladies the credit that they have given that all they have, and we haven't had a single finding in our computer audit either. So we're clean slate.
So what are you going to think about on September the 1st other than missing the people? And,
yeah.
September 1st, 2018 rolls around. You made the decision. For us in the elected position, you make decisions about running. To my knowledge, you've never had anybody run against you.
I haven't, never.
Which is a testimonial of not only do people like you, but they know that you're doing a good job.
I have a good staff.
The other thing that on September the 1, though, you walk away, you'll enjoy life, do the things you want, but as you look back, as you reflect over your many years in, let's see, chief of almost the entire workforce, I think Miss Elaine Anderson may have more years in service.
I think she has a few more.
But not a lot.
No.
What are some of the things you're going to be able to reflect on and enjoy taking with you as you...
Really, the people, not only my employees, but just the people who have worked for Williamson County government. Nobody's ever going to get rich working for Williamson County government. But let me tell you what, it's a fabulous job working with fabulous people. And I have enjoyed every minute of it. I cannot think of anywhere else I would have been happier because we have such good people here. And you know, you don't have to worry about waiting on your paycheck because they're nearly broke or they don't have the money to cover their paycheck now. I've never had to wait on a paycheck, and it's always been a very pleasant experience. I've really enjoyed being a part of Williamson County government.
Funniest thing that's ever happened in your office? Something that's just humorous that we can say on TV.
Yes, okay. Well, one time someone was working on some records and she accidentally laid a book over on the garbage can and forgot to pick it up. So being the good guys that they are when they come to clean our office, they threw that book away. And I had to climb in the dumpster at the back and find that book because it was a permanent record. And back then we didn't have computers. I mean, everything was in that book. And I had to climb in there and hunt that book, and it was, I won't say it was pleasant, but it's funny now. And then once when I worked for the trustee, we accidentally threw one check away for taxes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I climbed in that dumpster, too.
So is that part of the requirements to be?
No, but it's what I thought I needed to do as part of my job. But it was funny.
So what's the relationship, if you're trying to tell the general public, I think everybody understands what you do, but what's your relationship back over to the trustee's office or back to a county general or to any of this? I mean, you are truly taxpayer-centered. You're the person that records, I hate to use the word everything, but the important documents that occur within the community, whether it's city or county, they're recorded here.
Yeah. Well, the tax roll is made up from what we do in our office. It goes to the assessor first, but then it goes on to the tax roll. And the assessor has to keep up with those transfers, and then they go out and appraise the property to make sure the price is right. That's kind of odd, isn't it? But then it goes to the tax roll. So those two offices depend on what we do, and we do it correctly.
Over the years, I know you've been very involved at the state level for your, through an association. I think, I really haven't ever thought about it, but I think every single elected state statutory elected person has an association, and you've been very involved at the state level.
I have. I was president of my association, and I got several awards, and I was also treasurer, I think, at one time, or secretary. It's been so long I can't remember. But I don't do much of that anymore, and I never did enough of it to take me away from my office on a regular basis. I felt like my job was here, taking care of my office, taking care of my county taxpayers, and I thought that was the first place I needed to be.
So you've seen a lot of changes.
I certainly have seen a lot of changes, from pen and paper and a manual adding machine to what we have today.
Not just changes in the office, but you've just seen changes to our county.
Oh my goodness. It's not even like the county used to be. You know, we used to have restaurants that we would go downtown, and when we were at work, we'd go across the street and eat lunch, of course.
Now, wait a minute, you got to tell them where you were working at that time.
I was at the old courthouse.
That's right.
That's right. I loved it. Yeah, that's home for me. Always will be.
And we have not been there. You've been here since 1988.
8.
Yeah, thank you.
January of 88. Snow was on the ground when we moved here.
30 years ago.
Yeah. Wires were hanging and snow was on the ground, and we were moving in, and it was cold, and it wasn't complete. And been a long time. I thought we'd made the biggest mistake of our life, but we didn't.
Well, this hospital, this old hospital, was given to the county by Williamson Medical Center. And at the time, the county executive, which is the same role I have, was Bob Ring. And I remember the great debate that occurred with that hospital being relocated. And it cost several county commissioners their jobs.
That's right.
That they felt that they should stay here, remain here. And of course, we know now that there's no way they could have stayed here or been here, not with the new facility, and it's constantly growing out there.
It is.
And the decision to move over here, although I was a county commissioner, I wasn't on a day-to-day basis, there was a lot of discussion amongst the elected officials back then whether that was a good move.
A lot of changes then,
too. A lot of changes, and quite frankly, this building, which we still call home today, is as solid of a structure as you probably will find in Williamson County.
It's probably better than most of them.
And I look back over your 30 years, and I want to keep that spotlight on you, because we've just got about 4 or 5 minutes left, and you're one of those special people that I don't know many people in Williamson County just don't know you. Now, maybe the new folks moving in.
Yeah.
But the ones that have been around any time, that know the work you do, they're proud to know you. I hear that. Do you know Sadie Wade? Or I can go somewhere and do you know Sadie Wade? Or do you know what she's doing and how's she doing and all that? And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the many years of service that you have given to this community. And I do wish you a great retirement. You've earned every penny of it.
I will enjoy it, but I will also miss all the people. That's part of it.
That's right. And for the most part, you have to be here when we unlock the doors.
Right.
And that's, you see you coming up through the hallways. And going home in the evening. And of course, your staff has made it easier. My staff makes it easier on me. But ultimately, you're charged with the responsibility of that office.
The buck stops with us.
The buck does stop with us. So we got about 3 minutes left. Anything special that you would?
Well, I would just like to thank the people of Williamson County for giving me the opportunity to serve them all these years. And without opposition, that is a gift. A great gift. You know that as well as I do. And I would just like to thank them for allowing me to serve them in this capacity. And I hope I still see everyone. And I hope that I can still come up here and visit every once in a while and somebody will throw me a sandwich my way when I'm at lunch, you know. I'll miss everybody, but it's been great.
Well, and one of the things I think sometimes we don't acknowledge in people is the commitment that you've had to the job. As a younger girl, can I say that?
Sure.
Doesn't hurt your feelings for you to be called girl now.
Oh, no, I love it.
But as a younger person, I think all of us, when we're in our 20s and 30s, that we can never see the light at the end of the tunnel, that we're going to retire, that we're going to hang up our cleats, as the sports world talks about.
Right.
I watched the Olympics that are going on, and some of the things they do, and I don't understand any of that. I don't know how they do them. I don't understand the rules, but they're young, they're energetic,
Right.
and they're committed to their sport for that period of time. But Sadie Wade has been committed to this community and your work and your job, and I guess thanks ought to go to your parents for teaching you those values, but a lot of that is to you, that every day you did your job, and that's all that we can expect. You hear the expression, you do your job, let somebody else do their job, and it'll be a great place. So we have to pat people on the back and hug them for a job well done, and you've certainly done that.
Thank you.
You've gone beyond, and you've developed future people. You've got a wonderful office staff. You've kept it modern. You've kept it clean. You've kept it free of deficiencies, write-ups. Can't get much better than that, Sadie.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. But again, I have to thank my staff. I didn't do it by myself.
I understand that.
Yeah. But thank you so much. I
Somebody-
appreciate that.
Somebody has to drive the car,
Yeah.
and it's been a wonderful journey. Well, we're going to sign off. We're going to say goodbye,
Bye.
and we're going to wrap up this show with another thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
I'm Rogers Anderson as we sign off with Sadie Wade as our Register of Deeds, who's been with us, working for us for 44 years, daily. We say thank her for her hard work, and if you see her out on the streets over at the Kroger's or at the Publix, I don't want to try to name them all, give her a hug, tell her thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Reading the Day by Sandy Coomer. Before the book is opened on the day, I gaze upon the cover's bright design and listen to what words the morn might say as introduction to this storyline. As chapter follows chapter, there is pause to rest my eyes before the rising plot can fix me in some independent clause or capture me within some deed or thought. Some characters, some themes I've known before, but every word's arranged as something new, some passion, some deep lesson in the lore of living set for me to find, pursue. What little time to read the day, to learn its heart before the final page is turned.